Well, there are a couple of resources, hopefully, that can help. First, like I said, you're in the perfect place, for the learning. And as soon as people see IMC on there, because that's really the way a lot of programs are going. Nothing is really traditional public relations only anymore. While that might be the foundation of it, a lot of things have changed. So this, I'm not sure if you've seen. This is the very quick conversation prism, I believe, by Brian Solis. And since you've probably all seen that, I won't go into too much detail, but again, it just shows really quickly how vast social media is and all the different components that at least you need to acquaint yourself with, so that when you start working or when you start going on interviews, they're going to want to ask you, in terms of your social media plan, is Twitter going to work here? Is Facebook going to work here? Is LinkedIn going to work here? What do you want to do? What are your goals? Do you want to build a community? Do you want to get media placements? Do you want to get the name of the company out there? Do you want to do tweets in such a way that it's going to bring you as many clicks as you possibly can? And of course, then how does that actually convert, into new customers? But if you have the knowledge, and if you could show that you have the knowledge, if you can start by maybe positioning yourself as a thought leader, do a blog, things that you're proud of that you're doing in this program, that you're learning here. If you did a paper that you feel got some very good feedback, you have to start with what you have. And it is a little bit of the catch-22 situation that I'm sure a lot of you are running into, because I ran into it myself. They want you to have the experience, but they won't give it to you because you don't have it yet. Right. So you really need to best leverage what you have, and that really is through white papers, through final papers. I know some graduate programs require you to do capstones and practicums. As you're doing that here, market that. Say, what did you do? What did you do? What were the goals? What did you accomplish? And again, this way at least you could show them, well, you might not have the ready-made experience. You do have the knowledge, and you just need someone to, to help you put that into practice. These are some great people to follow. It's to show people, again, if you don't have the experience yet, you want to show them your willingness to learn. Lee Odin is Top Rank Online Marketing. He has a fantastic blog. What he started doing a lot of is search engine optimization. So he helped us with the Jobcenter, and he took us through a situation where if you were to do a Google search of public relations jobs, we were on page 15. We weren't 15 down on the first page, we were on page 15. And it was pretty bad. And what he did, through a lot of keyword optimization, through content, he made us, we're now on page number 1, and typically we do come up first in that. So, a good way to start is following Lee Odin. Show people that you do know about content management, because in your job, again, while you may not have the experience, you might be able to say to them, you know what, if you want me to add content to your website, I can work on it. I can take a look at the keywords that bring traffic to the website. I can make this SEO maximized, and I can also incorporate social media into this to bring more traffic to the site, because now our Jobcenter has 80,000 page views a week. So, so I would suggest following him. Online Marketing Connect is also wonderful knowledge. Aaron Callow works with them, and subscribing to their blog on a weekly basis, seeing what's going on, finding out what are the new things in social media, what's happening with Pinterest. And one thing, by the way, about Lee, in that in his blog, he doesn't just talk about theory. He'll take a case study of an actual company. He'll say, this is what I did. So, because again, the challenge that you might be faced with right now is that you're learning theory, but you need to show the people that are interviewing you, I could put this into practice, and I do have, and again, you do have the knowledge, you just need the chance, for them to give it to you. Eric Schwartzman has done a lot of webinars for us. He's does something called the Social Media Boot Camp, and he does a lot of things on, I know you're learning a lot about Twitter here, but if you need to do podcasts, if you need to understand how do you tag things, how do you tag your images on YouTube to bring people to your site, again, how do you use these key words, you know, to get the videos that you're doing attention, to get them play and to get them exposure. He has a lot of great information on SlideShare that you could take a look at. He's a wonderful person to get to know. He's on Twitter. He can be very, very helpful, and his skills are wonderful. Marketo B2B marketing, you're learning a lot about marketing here. So I would say, though, take a look. They have a lot of free webinars. There's a whole network of free webinars that some people know about it, some people don't. Some of these webinars might be a little salesy, but there's also a lot of good white papers that you can download too in the process. Sandy Sharrett, who we have the pleasure of joining us, she's going to be giving a presentation after this. You know, the wonderful thing is, you know, she could give you perspective on your LinkedIn profile, how to get it as complete as possible, because you really do want to get that 80 to 90 to 100% completion level. You want to get recommendations, you know, and you know what? If you don't have the experience yet, get recommendations from colleagues here. Get recommendations from the students on LinkedIn. Get recommendations from your professors. You know, if you've done things in class that they're, you know, that you're very proud of, that they gave you that they gave you all these accolades on, see if they could put that in the recommendation. Because again, you have to work with what you have for now, and to make the best of it. Peter Weddle has Weddle's newsletter. And he's great to follow too, because he will talk about things from the perspective not only of the job seeker, but the recruiter. And he talks about something called career fitness, which is always updating your skills. And in just attending one of the seminars today, I came here, I had no idea what Clout was. I heard the name, but I didn't know. And you know, the thing about Peter Weddle is if you keep up with your career, if you keep up with your knowledge, if you keep up with your learning, again, you know, hopefully you'll be given the opportunity to put this into practice. FINS, Wall Street Journal stuff, great career advice, great e-newsletters, great advice about your resume. And then you have a few career experts, Lindsay Olson, Ginny Bryan, Barry at Peter Bell. Salary information, you want to do your research. You want to see what type of salary should you be making if you're starting out. What should you expect? It's going to differ by state. It's going to differ by competition. Dennis Spring has some great information. A lot of these associations have a salary wizard. The ASAE has one. You plug in your experience, you plug in the title, and it gives you a range. So at least, you know, at the very least, you have an idea. Lisa Bernard, you roll in this field, so I don't really worry about your public speaking skills. But if you do find yourself, you know, a little bit nervous on job interviews, and maybe you want to get a little bit of advice, you know, again, the best way is to practice with friends, practice with family, practice with anybody that will listen to you for your job interview skills. But again, if shyness is something that you have to overcome, Lisa is wonderful to work with. In terms of keeping up with trends, you know, to at least show people that you're timely with what's happening in your field or the field that you want to enter into. Mashable is great on giving information. Recruiter Trends gives things from the perspective of the recruiter again. Recruiting Blog and Visibility. So they're all good resources. This I'm going to run through pretty quickly because you know the answers to this already. Again, there's no traditional public relations program only. It's a combination of communications. It's a combination of marketing. So when employers were posting jobs to our Jobcenter, these were the functions that they were posting for. It's not surprising that public relations was one of the main ones that they were looking at, but again, it's also marketing and communications. And those should maybe be, you might want to consider having those as your 3 keywords in the bullets of your background summary, because you're going to show them that you're up with the trends and you know what's happening out there. And if you have those 3 keywords, I think it would give you a good start. The top cities, of course, New York. Are there any of you that are interested in finding work at a PR agency? Oh, okay, all right.
If it's the right one.
If it's the right one, okay. Something about PR agencies that I'll go into a little bit later. They are a wonderful training ground, okay, but they are the toughest places to work in the world. You have to have a constitution made of steel, and you also have to know you are going to do this for 2 years, period, because it's all your emotional and physical health will be able to take. I'm not looking to scare you. It is an amazing training background, and and hopefully you'll be able to maybe even name your own ticket once you get the experience. But get your sleep. Remember that whatever happens at these PR agencies, nothing is personal. And if they are giving you experience, as my dad used to say, if you're getting experience, if you're learning something, you're getting gold. So that's the way to approach it. But they're tough. There's no way about it. Again, you do want to position yourself as a great communicator. Talk about the presentations that you had to do in class for now. Talk about the presentations that you did at the company. And when you were working in graphic design, for example, you're going to be talking with marketing people. You're going to be communicating with the writers, and you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to say, no, you can't use this logo. It doesn't fit in with the branding. This web page is too text heavy. You have to get rid of it. If you've done anything like that in your previous job, you already have communication skills. You've already worked with them. You're a team player. You've been a liaison. You've been a point person. These are all things that they're going to want to know, and these are skills that you can carry with you anywhere. And one thing was, did you say that you want to get out of events planning? It probably is a good thing to think about, because a lot of times in this economy, event planning is the first thing to go.
Yeah.
But it is the most transferable skill, because what do you do in event planning? You're doing marketing. You're marketing the event. You're generating leads. You are finding prospects. You're finding attendees. You're doing a little bit of PR to try to promote the event. So, think of all the different components that have been involved in event planning. Even though it's something you want to get out of, think of all the skills that are transferable. You had to write things. You had to write promotions to get people to attend the event. So you could write, and that's the other skill that's very, very transferable. If you're not at a stage yet where you have the level of experience that you want, show them that you're a great writer. One other person, by the way, to follow is Ann Wiley. She is brilliant when it comes to writing for the web, communicating, writing with headlines, keeping your headlines short, because you're going to write very differently for the web than you're going to write for print. And these are some things. We have, the Jobcenter has a mentor program. One of the things for all 4 of you to know is that by being in the IMC program, you can join PRSA as a member for $50. But it entitles you to all the free webinars that we have, and there are a lot. And it also entitles you to a bunch of networking, the free publications, everything else. So, it's a good way. It's a good way to connect. You do want to network constantly. Yeah. Here's the place to do it. And again, if you don't have a network yet, remember the most important rule: it's give to get. That's what it is. You don't want to approach somebody from out of the blue. One of the fellows yesterday giving a presentation, said, "I noticed you're traveling to Morgantown. Here are some restaurants that you might be interested in. Here are some places to go. Here are some points of interest." This is what you want to do. You don't want to just approach them saying, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm looking to get involved in this field. Can you take a look at my resume? Tell me what you think." You're one of thousands if you do that. You want to help them. even if you see an article that you thought might be fun, learn about them on Facebook. See what they're involved in. See what their interests are. You know, the personal approach is always better. And then you're going to have a long-term supporter that's going to help you throughout your career. You know, the volunteering, I know a lot of you have gone that route, so I'm not even going to tell you at this point. Yeah, you know, if you're in a situation where money is not as important, which, you know, if you are, that's wonderful. But you know, volunteering, it might even be, you know, look at it as a sideline. Look at it as you want to learn about social media. You want to get involved. Maybe you're in a job where you can't necessarily do what you want to do. You know, you're doing the grunt work, which a lot of us have to do at the beginning, but you want to do the more interesting stuff. And if they don't give it to you on the job, well, just see if, you know, on the side, if you could volunteer. This way you're earning the money, you're putting food on the table, but at the same time you're doing what you really want to do, and down the road after a couple of months or a year or so, maybe you could find a full-time job there doing what you love full-time. Again, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, invite them to your network, but just remember, after you've helped them, after you've already made that connection. This is some advice. Oh, one of the things I also did want to say is that we do have a mentor program through the PRSA Jobcenter. Jerry Corbett first started it, but we have a whole bunch of, I'd say about 20 mentors. If you want someone to take a look at your resume, if you want them to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, the mentoring program can help you with that. It's run by the College of Fellows. You know, take the time, connect with them, send them your resume. We also have an Ask the Experts bulletin board. So if your situation is very unique, and everybody's is, you know, if you have a particular question, you know, pose it to them. One of the mentors will answer. There are 400 questions that have been answered on the Jobcenter already. And a lot of them are people coming out of graduate programs, people that might be pulling their hair out of their head because they've done everything right. They've done the internship, they've volunteered, they've done all the work for free, and now they're trying to get the paying job. And it's not happening because it is a process and it's tough out there. Take a look at the answers, see what they're telling you, see the advice that they're giving you. They're all great college professors, they're practitioners, and they can give you some wonderful advice. The resume, again, in terms of character and personality, that's why I was saying about the graphic design resume. You know, show what your strong suits are. You know, try to format your resume in an interesting way. You want to keep the audience engaged. You want to tell a story, again, fitting each opportunity. That's why you're going to have 10, 15, maybe 20 versions of the resume. One thing, are you all familiar with applicant tracking systems and what they do, or have you heard that term? Okay, they're totally unforgiving. They are not, you know, don't be fancy. Don't be, you know, if it's a simple word in the job description, repeat that on your resume. Put it in your background summary. That should be, you know, the very first line in the job description, the heading, should be your first bullet on your resume, because you want the applicant tracking system. You want the words to match directly. Don't impress them with a fancy vocabulary. Don't worry if it looks too simplistic. A friend of mine, and I know, Sandy, you had dealt with this. Someone who shall remain nameless. We had to go back to them, a mutual friend of Sandy's and mine, and we had to go back to them 3 times saying, we can't submit your resume yet. It doesn't have the keywords. And he was brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant, this fellow. He had the best vocabulary in the world, but he tried to be too smart. He tried to be too pithy. Don't. The applicant tracking system is automated. Word for word, match it, and don't deviate a bit. Let's see. Okay. Your online branding. Again, Lee Oden is a good person to follow. In terms of talking about your online portfolio, has everybody in this room, have you all Googled yourself? Yeah, I mean, we all do it, and it's fun. You want to see what turns up, but you want to work on your online branding. You want to have a blog. You want to maybe talk about your experiences as a student here. I'm sure you've all seen the student videos, the graduate student videos, that are absolutely fantastic. Blog about what you're learning. It's your first step to becoming a thought leader in the industry, and that's what they're looking for. There was somebody yesterday, I don't know if you attended this session, about this fellow. He was great at photography, and he wanted to join the people in Silicon Valley. Did you attend that session? Okay, and he was painfully shy. He couldn't get across to these people. Networking was very hard for him, but he was very smart, and he really wanted to work in Silicon Valley. He was your typical brilliant geek that could do social media, that could do everything, but he had to overcome his shyness. And how did he do this? He posted his pictures. He did this blog. He did, I think someone was saying he did, 10, 20, 30, 40 tweets a day. Maybe it sounds a little crazy, but again, it gets your name out there if it's something relevant. Remember that your online branding is something that is going to haunt you forever. So, we've all seen that famous Olympic swimmer. I forgot what his name is, but he lost. Yes, he lost his contract to Wheaties. Why? Because he figured, okay, there's no way that someone's going to take a picture of me, with a bong. And of course, as luck would have it, he did. Be careful. There's no such thing as not being tagged on Facebook. There's no such thing as being blocked. And as Alan Cohen, a great career expert, once said, don't put anything on social media. Don't put any pictures that you wouldn't be uncomfortable having your grandmother see. So that's just a quick note of caution, which I know you all know. Again, some realities about agencies and salaries. And again, what you do have to offer right now is your amazing work ethic, because they're going to need that. Your ability, your enthusiasm to get the experience, to get the training, to get things on your resume quickly, so that your next interview will be a lot easier. This is just a quick look. I wish I could scroll up on this a little bit more, but this over here is this is a heat map, and basically, again, remember one thing: recruiters are extremely busy, right, Sandy? So you really do have those 6 seconds to get their attention. And I'll tell you one quick story. You're going to be applying for a lot of things, okay? Only apply for things that you feel that you are qualified for, or that at least you've had the training for. Because there was somebody, we'll call him Mr. X. Mr. X applied for so many jobs at this mega recruiting company that when his resume would come up, he applied to so many things he would crash the server. And the IT person, everybody would pull their hair out of their heads. All work would come to a dead stop. And what they had to do, anytime they saw Mr. X pop up with his resume, they put a block on his resume, so that now, even if he applies for something that he's qualified for, it won't do him any good. So I'm just going to, this real quick is, if you're not sure what area of public relations or communications to go into, it shows you how vast it is. So this is all the different chapters. But again, getting back to your resume, it's got to be brief. You have to have, I'm sure you all know that there's no career objective anymore. Everyone's career objective is to be employed. You have the. Are you
saying take that out?
Yeah. You gotta have your background summary. That's what you need in your bullets. I mean, and it's a little complicated now, because especially again, if you're transitioning, if you're at the beginning of your career, the background summary is going to be a little bit more complicated. Your second or third job, it's going to get much
So
easier.
I'm sorry,
What-
this is a dumb question.
No.
What is the background summary?
The background summary is, taking who you are and putting in no more than 2 or 3 bullets. So, for example, if I had my background summary, I would have on there, 25 plus years experience with a marketing research, managing a job center, and SEO background. Your second bullet would be working with university partnerships, brought in X dollars of money with the university partners. Your third bullet would be, brought in X, Y, and Z. So you want them to immediately know, if Sandy's looking at your resume, she needs to know immediately, is there a fit for the position or not?
Okay.
So, so you might want to say, marketing, integrated marketing communication student with a background in graphic design. Number 2 might be, your second bullet might be, worked on all levels of graphics design, incorporating branding, marketing strategies into the logos. You might say, pitched media stories resulting in placements in these types of publications, X number of years in media relations. It's right now, it's not, you're not going to blow them away with the number of years experience that you have, but you are going to blow them away with the knowledge that you have and the enthusiasm. But they have to know immediately, is there a fit? If they're not looking for a graphic designer and they see that up front, at least they'll know. But you know what, as you gain more marketing experience, you can resubmit again. And this is also something else important to remember. Don't be discouraged if you've based your life on, I've got to get a job at, Edelman. I have to get a job at Golan Harris, and if you don't get the job, it's not fun, but it's not the worst thing in the world either, because 20% of job rejections, if you play your cards right, if you network, if you keep at it, if you keep growing your career and your skills, 20 to 25% of rejections result in a hire, if you keep in touch with them.
That is so true. I was rejected for a job, and then a year and a half later they called me for it.
See? And did you keep in touch with them? Did you let them know what you were? That's fantastic, and it's a classic example. And in your case, your background summary might be, while you do want to get out of event management, marketing events from initiation to implementation, developed public relations plans. That's the other thing. You have to know, and I'm sure you're learning it here, a social media plan. And I want to give you an example of a good friend of mine. In terms of talking about preparation in your job interview and doing your research, you have, as much as you think you're researching the company, you have to do more. And a friend of mine, we knew he was going to lose his job. There was not a fit. And he loved advocacy. Advocacy was his life. He loved it. Okay, the vice president wanted media relations. Where can you land us stories? How can you help the company? How can you help the association? Land us in the Wall Street Journal. Get us something in the New York Times, He hated that. It wasn't a fit. And we saw the vice president would be walking around. He'd be pulling his hair out of his head. And we turned to him and we said, you're going to be out of a job, And it's hard, you might meet with HR and they'll say, we just want you to improve. We just want to help you. Once you have that first meeting with HR, that's it. You're on the road to being unemployed because they have to cover themselves legally so that they're not sued. So what we said to him was, because he was applying to a place that he worked at previously, and there were a few challenges there. Why did you leave? Well, how are you back? How do I know you're not going to leave again? So, and he was competing with some other people there that were in the running. So we turned to him and it was a tag team effort. One person worked on the PowerPoint presentations, one person worked on social media. He came up with a social media plan for the entire company because he knew the person that replaced him didn't know a darn thing about social media. So he did the entire thing and he was hired. So you need to do your research. You need to know what's the company's website, what's their mission, what are their goals, what's their strategies. Look at their annual report. Look at the people that work there on Facebook, on LinkedIn. What do they all have in common? Maybe you'll learn more about the corporate culture and the process. But almost think of it as coming to your job interview with a gift. You're bringing them the equivalent of a bundt cake, basically, and you want to show them that you could hit the ground running. And this is one thing that's also important. Keep calm during the unexpected questions. I'll give you a quick strategy that my boss gave me, and it really did help. She'd be in a meeting with a pandemonium breaking out. Life at a nonprofit association can be festive sometimes, and all the special interest groups at each other's throats, and they're all pouncing on you. And what do? You're on the hot seat with results of research that they didn't like, and so you turn to them and you go, well, and you pause. You pause for a second. It's okay to do that, as long as you're in control of the pause. Because while you're pausing, you are collecting your thoughts. You're thinking about how are you going to answer this question. And somebody was, I forgot who it was, but it was a case study. Somebody was great with advocacy, and they were asked a certain question. How do you write advocacy for an article if you feel there's a conflict of interest in your personal beliefs? How do you handle that? It was a very unexpected question. And they were thrown off guard. They're not sure if they answered the question right. But again, if you pause for a second, you take a deep breath and you get your thoughts together, it's okay to do that. So you can upload your resume to the PRSA Jobcenter. It is, we have approximately 2,200 jobs up there. Take a look. Make sure later I give you all my business card because, I have some articles that I could send you and maybe some tailor-made things, and we could talk and I could connect you with our mentor program as well. And that's about it. And if there are questions that I can't answer, I can put you in touch with the people that can. But like I said, for you, contact Lee Oden. And also remember, thank you. Use all of there are a whole bunch, thank you, of free Google Analytics tools out there. There's Google's keyword tool, okay? So that you're writing something, you're doing your web page, you're working on content management, you want to see what are the keywords that work the best for you? Use the keyword tool search. It doesn't cost you anything. And just prepare like crazy for your interviews.